right, everybody. I want to thank y'all for, whoops, hitting the wrong button here. Anyways, I want to thank y'all for joining us tonight, guys. We've got a really great show lined up for y'all. I am trying to work everything out here by myself. Thanks a lot, Chris, for being on vacation. I'm just kidding, man. I hope you have a good time. Let me know, guys, if you are having any issues. I'm trying to go back and forth with Facebook because of apparently some updates that they did. I could not seem to get it to go over right. But I think we're up live now. So I am going to try to see if I can pull up some of you guys' chats. If not, I'll try to go through my phone. If not, y'all can go on YouTube. And we are live on YouTube as well if you want to get some of your chats in. Let me check on something here. But anyways, yep, we're good. We're good to go on YouTube. I mean, on Facebook. Let me make sure here everything's good. Sorry for the inconvenience here, guys. Just want to make sure everything's right here. Let's see. All right. I guess we're all good. I guess. Yeah, Brittany, I see it's your fault. Thanks a lot, Brittany. But yeah, guys, we got a really great show lined up. Let us know here if you are on YouTube, if you're seeing it on Facebook. I think Chris is trying to go back and forth with me there to see if everything's working. But as of right now, it looks like everything's working. So, Chris, if you're on here on YouTube, I don't know, man. I'm trying to get it. It doesn't even have it's not giving me an option here. Give me a second, guys. All right. And it's showing it's trying. So it's not giving me the option to go live on Facebook. So I don't know. I don't know what is going on right here. But anyway, so if you can, invite your friends over to YouTube because that's where the party's going to be at tonight. Like I said, we got a great show lined up. We got Robert Brown on. And if you guys don't know Robert Brown, you need to go follow him. You can follow him on his regular Facebook page. He's also under Yak Bassin. Really great content that he's been sharing. Really big fish that he catches. I mean, he does really great work. And just, being able to promote his sponsors like he does and the teams and the products that he uses and all that. So, and also, he's a great cook, man. You need to go in there. He has always got some great pictures of food that he's been cooking. And I'm telling you, it makes me hungry every time I see it. It makes me mad when I see it because I'm like, Robert, why are you not inviting me over to this event? But anyways, we're going to have him on. But before we get into tonight's show, I want to thank all of our sponsors, guys. We've got some really great companies that have supported us during the times when things, were tough for the industry itself. I don't say it was tough. It was really busy for the industry last year, but it was also tough when it comes to products and dollars and all that stuff. So we got some really great sponsors. I want to thank Bob's with the Creek Outfitters. I want to thank Power Pole. I want to thank Falcon Rods. I want to thank Native Kayaks, also Bonafide, Yak Attack, and Missile Baits. Guys, they have been really great. They have supported us through so much and been with us since the beginning. Been great. Been really, really great. Love working with these companies. And, I hate – we're not the type of people that like to promote something that if we don't have confidence in it. So these companies here. Also, I got another one too. We are not going to be doing a giveaway tonight with it. It is RBT Custom Baits. I know he's been having a little difficulty with getting baits to get out and get product out. So don't want to hit him up too much with trying to give baits away when he can't get the baits to even, sell to make money. So, but our RBT Custom Baits also is a great company with, doing some custom crankbait work. Or he also makes spinnerbaits, buzzbaits. You need to check him out. He makes a killer buzzbait. You need to check him out with that. So, but like I say, guys, things have been busy. Things have been really busy. I know we have not been on live. We have not done a podcast show in a while. We actually did one with Chris Zaldane the other it was last week. Yeah, week before on Swimbait Fishing. Very, very good show. If you haven't had a chance, go on iTunes, check that out, listen to it. He talks about glide baits. He talks about swim baits, and we learned a lot about that within that show. So Make sure you go check that out. Also, we're going to have this show up. We plan on doing more of these shows now. It was busy time. We've been working on new products. We got some new things in the works that we are hoping to be releasing. I'm hoping by the end of this week, if not first of next week. First of the following week, I guess. And I'm hoping and I'm thinking that everybody's going to like this. We're stepping into some new stuff and really excited about it. We got some of our pro staff guys testing out some stuff for us just to make sure before we release this stuff. So, also, I want to I know some of you guys have been following us on at least my personal page. Got my son into go-kart racing a while back, and I just, man, I've been super, super proud of the learning curve. I guess me and him both have been in, and family's been in, and just really proud of my son. He had a great race this weekend. The last 2 weekends have been really great. He's learned a lot. He's doing well, and I mean, it's just cool. It's really cool when you got kids to see them do something and start excelling in it, you know. And I'm not going to say we're excelling, but we're doing really well. You know what I mean? Like we've got some right people around us that are helping us, and some great sponsors that are supporting us, and just to watch him grow into this sport, I just wanted to kind of brag on my son a little bit. You know what I mean? Like, I'm just so excited and so proud of him that. You know, make sure you go check us out. You can also go on our Instagram page. It's Carter Racing 23. That's where we're going to be doing a lot of our kart racing stuff. I don't know. We talked about doing a YouTube channel with it, but I'm not real sure. I'm not real sure yet. So, but anyways, with further ado, we're going to go ahead and get Robert on. Let me see if I can work everything in here. We're going to get him on, and we're going to talk. Everybody's going to get to know Robert and you know, what got Robert into fishing and all that. So let's go ahead and get Robert on. We're going to talk with him and see what's up. What's going on, man? How you doing tonight?
Hey, what's going on, man? I'm doing pretty good. How you doing?
Not too bad, man. I'm sorry I had to keep you on here for so long. I've been fighting. I've been on a struggle bus, dude.
I've been having me a cold lemonade keeping me company. So
yeah. What's in that lemonade? Is it just lemonade?
It's lemons and water and a little bit of sugar.
Oh, okay. I got you. Is it like grape drink? Grape. It's purple with like sugar.
Like that purple drink. Yeah. There might be a little adult beverage added into it.
Oh yeah. Well, you got to spice it up a little bit.
Just a little bit, you know.
So how you been?
The weekend, gotta.
Yeah.
I've been good, man. I've been pretty good. I can't complain. You know. I've had the opportunity to go fishing. I've had the opportunity to upgrade my kayak. Had an opportunity to meet people, new kayak fishermen. It's been good, man. I can't complain.
Yeah. I mean, you were I'm going to say in the Virginia area, and, you know, some of the other events you've been to, you have been doing really well. You've been fairly consistent. I know that we all have rough times of the years, and you know, you kind of lose them for a little bit, but you spend enough time on the water that I know that you're going to find them again. You know what I mean? Like,
yes, sir.
I told James, I was like, man, how the heck does he do it and hold a relationship? Like, I know my wife would have killed me if I didn't fish that much.
Man, I'm blessed, man. Obviously, everybody says it, but it's definitely true for me. I wouldn't be able to do it if it wasn't for my beautiful wife, man. She's very supportive of my fishing habit. And I guess it helps that my wife works from home, and she works, you know, 9 to 5 or 8 to 5 every day.
Yeah.
So I get to fish until like she gets off work for the most part. If I get off work early, which happens more often than not, but I get to fish, and you know, as long as I'm home, you know, at a decent hour, she's okay with it.
Yeah. No, that's good, man. And you know, and that's what it takes to be able to, like, I mean, the fish that you have been posting has been crazy. You know, like you've been posting some good fish, especially from January on. I mean, you've caught some freaking hammers, and it's been really impressive.
To be honest with you, man, I've learned a lot from the guys on my team this year. I usually suck pre-spawn. Because I'm not much of a power fisherman, so I usually don't do well pre-spawn. But my times of year are usually post-spawn all the way through the winter. right?
Mhm.
I just don't do well in the pre-spawn. But I've actually had the opportunity. I've caught, I think, four or five citations this year so far for
Wow.
Virginia, and I mean that's awesome, man. I'm blessed. I'm chasing that. I think it's expert angler for 10 citations of the same species.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Yeah. I mean,
I'm actually
you're
going to
getting
chase that
close.
this year. Yeah, yeah. I'm at 7 right now, man. I need 3 more.
Wow. And I mean, you're talking. We're going lengthwise. Granted, I know some of these fish look well over the weight that you need. You know what I mean for citation.
Hmm.
But lengthwise, definitely you are getting it. You know what I mean. And like I say, some of these fish you have caught, I swear, 8+ pounders. You've caught some. You've caught some chunks.
Yeah, I've been blessed, man. I cannot lie. I've been blessed. I've caught three, 3 8s, a 9, and then a couple 7s so far this year.
I mean, you're. What has been your main your go to bait this year to be able to catch those big fish?
Uh, um, honestly, man, I would love to say it's a jig because that's my confidence bait. That's what I feel like the technique I work best. But it honestly hasn't been the jig, man. It's really been, I guess it's a form of a jig. It's been the bladed jig, so the jackhammer. It's been a jackhammer, really.
Yeah,
A jackhammer and a spinnerbait.
I'm gonna tell you what, man. I don't know what it is about the jackhammer and the kayak scene. I mean, you see it in the bass boat world as well. It just doesn't seem to be the norm. Like if you talk to a lot of these bass boat guys, hey, what'd you catch that on? Oh, I caught it on a swim bait. I caught it on a jig. I caught it on. Every once in a while, the guys are coming out and caught them on chatterbaits. What is it with the daggone chatterbait this year? Like this bladed jig. What? It's like the kayak thing. That's what you. If you don't have that in your kayak, you are missing out.
It's I don't know, man. I couldn't tell you because this time last year I probably maybe had 2 in my kayak, and
Really?
I took all of last year as a learning curve to learn how to throw it and to experiment with it and figure out just the different things you can do with it, and it's so versatile, man. Everybody says it. It's like a lipless crankbait. On crack for the most part. Everything you can do with a lipless crankbait, you can
Yeah.
do it with a jackhammer, but it's better.
Yeah. It.
Um,
I. I've done well with it. I'm gonna say pre-spawn. Um. Other than that, that's it. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know if it's just because I put it down, or it's just I can't catch them. You know what I mean? I don't know exactly what it is, but I'm on a struggle bus when it comes to trying to catch them on a chatterbait, on a thunder cricket or a jackhammer or whatever it may be. And to be quite honest with you, I do way better with the old style regular Z-Man chatterbait than I do the daggone jackhammer. I don't know what it is about it, but
you're not the first person I've heard say that. Who is it? Greg Blanchard swears by the old school style. He's refused to pick up a jackhammer.
yeah,
And it's funny because I think I caught one bass on the, the original Z-Man chatterbait. And I mean, granted, I think it was a 10-pounder, but I was in Florida, so it doesn't count.
yeah, yeah,
Um, yeah. Other than that, I think that was like the one time I threw it. I just so happened to have a white original Z-Man chatterbait, and I threw a swim bait on the back of it. And I caught a 10-pounder with it, and never used it after that. And then I came up here and well, I came up here, but I came back, and everybody's swearing by this jackhammer, this new chatterbait. I'm like, a chatter. I mean, I've caught one fish on it. It's not. I don't really care about it. So, I mean, they're like swearing by it. So I went to the, our local place, Ocean's East, and saw it. And I was like, $20 for a bladed jig? Are you
yeah,
serious?
yeah.
Let me go take a loan out.
Well,
So I bought. Go ahead.
yeah, it is crazy, man. Like $20 for one, and especially if you're not real well with it, not real good with it. But like you say, I mean, once you build the confidence up to it, it is a deadly weapon. It seems to be, anyways, for
Yeah,
others.
it's definitely a confidence thing, man. Like I had zero confidence in it. I went out. I think I went out and I bought like five of them, and I just took a day. Actually, I think it took a week straight, and all I took with me was one rod and that chatterbait or that jackhammer, and I threw it, and I lost so many fish. I mean, it got bit. You know, I got bit with it, but I lost probably 75% of the fish.
Yeah,
And I was just like, well, this bait gets bit, but I don't know what it is, but I just lose everything with it.
yeah,
And then I started doing my research, man, talking to people who throw it all the time, reading up on it, and your rod is very important for when you're throwing a jackhammer. What type of rod you're using, and then your line, believe it or not, is super important. Both of them play a part in it. And once I found a better rod and switched up my fishing line, the line that I used, my hookup ratio is probably 90-10. I catch 90% of the fish and maybe lose
yeah.
one every 10 fish.
And it's kind of like crankbait fishing. You know what I mean? Like, it's kind of like crankbait fishing. I mean, you gotta have the right rod and line set up.
Yes, sir.
And it's like any other technique really that you throw. You gotta have that right setup. If not, you're gonna suffer the consequences. If not, if you go too heavy with a rod, all you're doing is ripping it out of their mouth. If you go too light with a rod, sometimes you're not going to get a good hook set. You're not going to penetrate the top of the roof of their mouth or any of that. So, like I say, kind of go, if you don't mind, kind of go into your rod and line setup and what works for you.
Okay. Yeah, I have I want to say it's 7 foot TFO rod, medium. It's got a great parabolic bend to it. So when you're throwing that jackhammer or any chatterbait, there's two uh, arguments on it, right? There's the right that says, hey, you want a rod that has a good parabolic bend in it, so that when you're ripping it out of the grass and that fish grabs it, it gives the fish time to take it down before you get that hook, drive that hook home. And then there's the other part, the left side, that says, "Hey, you want a rod with just a little bit stiffer, so when you pop it out of that grass, it gives it a real sharp pop out of it."
Yeah.
I'm on the right side. I use a medium action with like a lot of parabolic bend into it, and then I use a 7:1 reel. I just like the higher gear ratio, but not the super high gear ratio. It just works for me. And then I throw it with the Seagar 14-pound fluorocarbon. Unless I'm fishing in super thick grass, I'll switch to straight braid.
Yeah. I mean, do you feel when you go over to braid, do you feel like your hook set ratio maybe goes down a little bit because you don't have that little extra give like you would get with, and a fluorocarbon doesn't have a lot of stretch, but it does have more than braid. I mean, do you feel like that
Yeah.
sometimes you have more lost fish when you go to the braid on that?
Um, Honestly, I can't say yes or no because I feel like the fact that straight braid, excuse me, with the straight braid, I can get them out of that thick stuff. That braid's gonna rip through that grass instead of binding up in it or wrapping up in it and making it tougher for me to get that fish out.
Yeah.
This last KBF event up at the Potomac, um, I think I had 4 fish on the board. This was the trail one stop.
Hmm.
I had 4 fish on the board, and a 18-inch fish would have put me well within the top five.
Yeah.
Uh, with like an hour left, I hook into a really big fish, and it's probably like a 30 yards away that I could see this fish, and I was like, oh my god, how big this was! Like this was a giant, man.
Yeah.
Fishing stories. I don't want to. I mean, I don't want to say this guy was this big,
Yeah.
but I had 2 witnesses. Eric Polens, who finished second in that event, and then Greg Nosar. They were both right there. We were all fishing the same area. Uh, Greg saw this fish, man. I swear to God, this fish was probably somewhere between 8 and 10 pounds. It was
Wow.
huge. It was huge. It was a 22-inch plus fish,
Yeah.
and I was coming up on this big patch of weeds, and I just saw this mouth open up and take it in, and I'm fighting this fish, and I see her. I got a good hook set. I got a good swing into her, so I'm fighting this fish, and then she swims to the right, and she's headed toward this another thick patch of grass, and I was like, okay, I got a good hook in her, so I don't. It's fine. She can go in the grass. She went in the grass, man. She started digging, and she wrapped me up in the grass, and I was just like, no, no, no. I was all fluorocarbon.
Yeah.
I thought
Yeah.
about it before that tournament. I was like, should I switch this? Should I switch the line out? And I was like, well, I've been hearing that the grass hasn't come back as thick as usual
Mhm.
in Potomac right now. So I was like, I just stay with the fluorocarbon. I feel like if I'd have had braided line, I'd have got that fish. When she went into that thick grass patch, she wouldn't have. It's so easy for them to pull off in thick grass, man. I
Yeah.
hate it. You got to get them out of there quick.
Yeah. Yeah. You got to try to get them their head up and out of there, you know. And when they
Mm-hmm.
hammer something like that, it's hard because when they hit it, especially that far out, they're diving right then. You know what I mean? They get it, and they want to get
Mm-hmm.
back in that grass and kind of have that to their self. So yeah, that's a tough call. But there's also times too where you, depending on how clear your water is, if how you want to go with fluorocarbon. You know what I mean? Like
Mm-hmm.
it's a double edged sword there on what you're gonna do, and like say most of the day you didn't have no issues, but at that last moment,
Yeah.
you know what I
Some
mean?
people, some people will go braid with the fluoro leader. That works.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Now when it comes to the Potomac River, did you how did that work out for you? Because I know I hear so many stories of guys like some of the creeks got blown out. You know, um, you also fighting with low tide. So if you go in and practice on the Potomac, it's a tidal river. So you go in and practice on Potomac River. Well, the tides change each day. It
Yeah.
gets later and later, earlier, earlier, depending on what cycle you're on. So did you have to play that into what you were doing, or did you just kind of find a spot and then just hold out, or did you catch them early, or you know what I mean? How did that work out for you?
So for me, I had 2 days of practice prior to tournament days, and day one of practice, dude, I slayed them. I caught like I want to say I caught close to 80 inches on 4 fish in like 40 minutes. In
Wow.
Akia, Aquia, I don't know how they say it,
Yeah, I
in
don't know.
Aquia Creek. Yeah. uh, in like 30 minutes, right? And I was like, all right, I'm gonna get up out of here because I'm practicing. So I'm like, I'm gonna get up out of here. Um, the tides on tournament day were not gonna be all that different. They were gonna be off by like, I want to say like 2 hours, which is not really that big of a deal in the big scheme of things. The problem was that practice days were weather-wise were perfect.
Yeah.
Tournament days, day one, the wind was blowing like 25 miles per hour out of it was kicking, man, out of the west, and that's bad for the Virginia side because that's going to blow all the water out.
Yeah.
Uh, so tournament day came. So day two of practice, we found this. Me and Greg Nosar, we found this area that had the winning fish, and the winning fish were there. I'm telling you straight up, the winning fish were there. Day two of practice, I think Greg hooked up on a double up. I've never had a double up. I've only seen it on YouTube and on TV.
Yeah.
He had a double up on a lipless crankbait, and both of the fish were like, I want to say between 17 and 19 inches.
Man.
Exactly. This is
Yeah.
on day two, and I was like, man, we got to leave this area. Like, well, this is where we're gonna fish. This is where we're gonna fish. So let's just go. And then we saw the weather change, and it was gonna be blowing like 30 miles per hour out of the west, and we were like, well, that area is gonna kind of be protected, so we can still go back. Well, the problem with it was because of the wind, it prevented that high tide from coming in.
Mm-hmm.
So uh, there's a lot of grass in this area. So, but we needed about a foot and a half more water than what was in there. The wind prevented the high tide from coming in, so the water was pretty low. The grass was up near the surface, and we struggled to. I struggled day one to catch fish. Um, I had 5 bites all of day one.
Oh
The fifth
wow.
bite was the gigantic one that I lost in the last hour. That would have those 4 bites I had before that, 100% 4 for 4 on hookup and landing.
Mm-hmm.
and that fifth one would have been it. Lost her, but whatever. That's fishing, man. Day
Yeah.
two was my fault. The wind was blowing a lot less, so there was water. We were so worried that there's not going to be water in the creek. So at the end of day one, coming back, we had like a 3 mile, 3.5 to 4 mile trek back to the ramp from where we fished.
Mm.
And when we got into the creek to come back, man, it was a struggle because water was gone. Like, and I run an XI3, off the bow, and at one point I didn't even realize that I was towing Greg, and she starts vibrating. The motor starts vibrating, so I'm like, okay, I'm rubbing in the mud a little bit.
Yeah.
What I didn't realize was the whole motor was in the mud.
Holy
Like
cow.
the whole thing was like, and I finally looked down, and I was in like 4 inches of water. So I had to raise the motor, which was covered in mud, and I had to push pole myself out of the mud to get to the semblance of a channel, which was at like maybe 2 feet. And that's because all the wind had blew the water out of this creek.
Yeah.
So we were so worried that day two, trail event two, there was going to be no water to launch. So we went to the ramp early, like super early, in case we had to flex.
Yeah.
But there was water. The wind wasn't blowing as bad, so there was water. And day two, man, I didn't execute well. I think I caught 3 or 4 on day two, but I lost probably 5 or 6.
Yeah.
Jumped me off or broke me off or pulled off. It was just,
Nothing went your
execution,
way.
man.
Yeah. Nothing
Yeah.
went your way, and fishing gods wasn't looking good on looking down on you that day. I mean, it's
No, they were.
yeah,
I mean, I caught 3 of the right size. I think every fish I was catching or I was landing was 18 inches. Every one I
yeah.
landed was 18 inches, and based off of those 3 being 18 inches, and like I was getting like one an hour, I was like, well, I'm gonna have a pretty good limit based off of what people were putting up. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And Eric Polenz was fishing the same area, and he was catching fish, and he was just like, man, you're averaging just a little bit bigger fish than I am, so if you get 5, it's gonna be tough. I couldn't get 5, so
Yeah.
in these kayak tournaments, man, getting a limit is so paramount.
Yeah. It's crucial. Like,
Yeah.
you know, you can look at it two ways. You can either shoot for the stars and go for 5 big ones, or you can fish defensively and fish and get your limit. You know what I mean? And then upgrade. But it's a tough thing to do because on a lake or river system like Potomac River where the fish are so good, you know what I mean? Like it could be a big one at any cast.
Mm-hmm.
It's tough to do that, so you're trying to go for those big ones. But if you're new to it, or you're going for points, man, if you can at least wrangle up 14-inch fish for a limit, you know what I mean? Like that ain't big. You're not going to win off of that on most events.
No.
About 99% of the events, you're not going to win off 14-inch fish. But when you can do that and then get onto something bigger, like flipping a jig or throwing a chatterbait or cranking or stuff like that, that there is key. You know what I mean? But
Yes, sir.
You got to kind of like, do you go big first thing in the morning and try to get them big bites? And as it slows down, that's when you really kind of go down to your drop shot, shaky head. Do you even throw anything like that? Where you fish at, man, down there? I don't think y'all even throw nothing like that, do you?
Man, I don't.
You don't own a spinner reel, do you?
I have drop shot weights.
No.
I have drop shot hooks. I have two spinning reels.
Yeah.
I have the ability to throw a drop shot.
Yeah.
I don't throw it. I have a lot of people who I associate with that tell me I'm messing up by not throwing a drop shot. But man, I don't throw a drop shot. Shaky head though.
Yeah.
Yes, I do throw a shaky head.
Well, a lot of the water that you have down there is more power
Dirty.
fishing stuff,
Mm-hmm.
Oh, sorry, that one snuck up on me. But
Bless you.
thank you. But yeah, I mean, so you really don't have no need to throw nothing like that. And like a shaky head comes in pretty good. It's still finesse bait, but it's that bottom bait where you can put around brush and trees and lay down stuff like that works really well. But I need to bring you up here to Smith. You need to come here to Smith. We need to take the big boat out and go drop shotting. It's fun. It's light line and it's sometimes it's big fish. I'm not saying all the time, but you do catch some big fish, But yeah, it's fun. I like drop shotting, but getting kind of back to the tournament thing and trying to figure out how to win these things and put them together. depending on the situation, it's hard to go in and throw a finesse bait on a system like Potomac River when you know that you can really catch 5 good ones off of like a chatterbait or rattle trap or anything like that. But kind of getting, you said you like throwing spinnerbaits and chatterbaits. Because we ask guys this question a lot when we're on here talking about spinnerbaits and chatterbaits. When do you say I need to put the chatterbait up and throw a spinnerbait, or vice versa?
So this is what I tell you. I don't like throwing. I like throwing the. Actually, I'm not a spinnerbait chatterbait guy. I've had to force myself to diversify. By nature, I'm a jig and a Texas rig guy. That's what I like to throw.
Yeah.
I have found a new love for the jackhammer chatterbait. But for me, the difference. We'll start with the basics, man. If you're fishing, heavy wood cover, obviously you're not going to reach for a chatterbait. Although I've heard good things about the Z-Man cross-eyes bladed jig. Apparently that rolls off of wood very well. But if anybody who fishes a jackhammer or chatterbait knows when you're throwing that in a lot of wood, man, that thing's gonna snag.
Yeah,
it's gonna get hung. So if I'm fishing heavy wooded area, I'm gonna reach for the spinnerbait. If it's not a lot of wood, my initial reach is gonna be for the jackhammer. Honestly, if I'm fishing really dirty water, I actually prefer to throw spinnerbait in a double Colorado blade. I prefer to throw that than I do the jackhammer.
Yeah.
If it's really I'm talking about chocolate milk, yoo-hoo, I reach for that spinnerbait double Colorado. I don't know what it is, but it seems to catch the bigger bite for me.
Yeah.
Than the jackhammer does in really dirty water.
Well, it's that slower retrieve. The jackhammer, you can actually get too fast with it if you're not careful. With the Colorado blade and that a brighter color in dirty water, you can work it a little slower, but it puts off that big thump. You know what I mean? So it really hones them in. That's my jam right there. When I can get dirty water and throw a spinnerbait, man, that's my jam. That's what I like doing. I love throwing a spinnerbait. I'll have a spinnerbait tied on all year long, from winter time through, from winter to winter, basically. So, and I always throw it. I've caught some big fish dead of summer in the middle of the day, crashing it through a tree.
Dude, don't summertime, dude. Spinnerbait single Colorado blade, but the big Colorado blade, and I'm talking about you're barely creeping that reel, and you can feel the turn of this. And when you get hit, it's not like a freight train when you get hit with that one. It's just like you just hung into like a tree.
Yeah.
And then the tree decides it wants to go the other way.
Oh yeah. And for me, it's been the 4-blade. 4-blade willow leaf booyah. It is. A lot of people don't like booyah, but I'm gonna tell you what, man. When it comes to the 4-blade, I've tested a lot of homemade 4-blades. I've tested a lot of different 4-blades. I mean, you look at my spinnerbait box, and I got 4-blades from several different companies, and by far the booyah has been the number one for me. And it lasts longer. You can catch a lot more fish off of it. You go and spend $10 for a custom made to $15 for a custom made 4-blade and only catch 2 fish. I really don't see that being effective. You know what I mean? Granted, those 2 fish you might catch might be really big. I don't know, but I have not seen where. And I'm always seems like I'm adjusting more on a custom made one 4-blades than I am like on a booyah, because the booyah does have a little bit thicker wire. Do you get the vibration like you do with a thin wire spinnerbait? No, but it doesn't seem like it bothers them much. You know what I mean? I still, Bugs Island, I love it. That is a killer for me down at Bugs Island. But let's kind of get into, Sue, you're talking, you love your Texas rig man, your jig man. I've seen you catch I've watched some of your videos, and I'm sitting here watching you working a jig. You had several videos talking about missed opportunities where you're playing on your phone, working your jig. And, I like watching you work your jig. You're sitting there holding it, you're just flipping your one finger's flipping the reel handle. You know what I mean? You're just working it, and you're just playing on your phone. What is it with you in a jig bite? I mean, do you have several different colors, or do you keep it really simple? I mean, are you a simple guy when it comes to jig fishing?
So, what is it with me when it comes to jig bite, man? To me, there's guys who are And for the most part, I feel like for the most part, anglers love the topwater bite, and that's like the most exciting bite for them because you get to see this big blow up, and you get to see sometimes the fish come out of the water to grab it, whatever, this, that, and the third. For me, it's the jig bite. And I'll be honest with you, for me, in my experience, there's three different jig bites. There's the one where you get that thump, you know,
Yep.
you feel it, that heavy thump in your rod that gets your heart racing. There's the one where you pitch in or you flip in or whatever, and your line just starts swimming away, gets your heart racing,
Yeah.
right? Yeah, yeah. And then there's the one where you don't feel the weight of your lure, like you're reeling, trying to work your jig, and you don't feel anything, and that one gets your heart racing because I feel like it takes a second before your brain catches up, and you're like, "Oh, hey, dummy, there's a fish swimming with it."
Yeah. Yeah.
But you don't see your line swimming away. You just, you don't feel the weight of your jig. And those three bites are so exhilarating to me. And like, I think I've put out a couple videos where I wasn't expecting a bite at the time. So like when I got bit, like it scared me. Oh
Yeah.
no, I
Yeah.
mean, I'm a grown man. I'll admit it. I can admit that. I've definitely had quite a few bites where like I'm just working and I'm just doing my thing, and then like you get this aggressive bite, and you're just like, oh,
Yeah.
and your brain kind of pauses for a second. You're like, oh, hey man, set the hook. Oh yeah, there we go. And
Yeah.
that's just exhilarating for me, man. I love the jig bite, and you can fish it so many different ways. You can swim it, you can drag it, you can hop it, and you can. I've burned a jig across the surface, like on like heavy grass lakes, burning it across the surface and and just stopping it for a second, burn it, stop it, burn it, stop it, and you can fish it. That's why it's a year-round bait. You can fish it all 4 seasons because you can do so much with it.
Yeah. Oh, you can change up
Um,
trailers. You can change. I mean, it's so much with your fall rate, and
yes,
it's a very versatile. You see a lot of people now do these surveys. Like, what is your if you had only one lure that you can only use the rest of your life? If you watch, I'm gonna say 97% of the time, it's a jig because it's so versatile. You can swim it. You can pop it around stuff. You could, what I mean? It's so many different ways you can work it.
comes through grass. It comes through wood. Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean everything but snot grass.
Yeah, yeah. Then it just
I don't
hangs
know.
all over.
I don't know what the actual name of it is, but I call it snot
Yeah,
grass.
'cause that's what it looks like.
Yeah, that's exactly what it looks like.
And then whatever that other black stuff is that you could pick up sometimes, like that real
Oh
nasty
yeah,
stinking stuff.
yeah. I hate that stuff too. I got a lot of that the other day.
Yeah.
Because I fished a CK event or CK tournament this past weekend down at Baden Lake, and I hit a couple creeks that had that stuff. And as soon as I got that, I just I turned the XI3 on and turned around.
Yeah, yeah.
But anyway, what was the second part of the question you asked me? Why?
Yeah. Do you keep it simple? How was your selection of jigs? You keep it simple, or do you got like a variety of things?
So, um, I I did not keep it simple in the past. I recently, in the last 2 months, decided that I'm going to simplify things. But I have a jig box. I have that plain old jig box,
Mm-hmm.
and I think you can fit 70 jigs in it. I think 70 or so.
Yeah.
And I have 70 in there, but then I have plus 70 because I have stuff just sitting on top of it. And I have just an array of different colors and stuff like that. But I've recently come to the realization, man, I'm gonna keep 3 colors from now on, man.
Yeah.
Green pumpkin, brown, black, and blue.
Yep.
That's all I'm gonna go with from here on out. I'm not buying anything else other than that. Uh, so I'm simplifying things. I don't think the color. Don't get me wrong. There's times when the subtleties of the color matter.
Mm-hmm.
There's times when you're fishing gin clear water and you're trying to match the hatch and stuff like that. But for the most part, I think with a jig bite, it's reaction or it's just the profile. Profile of the bait. I don't think me throwing a straight green pumpkin black flake jig is catching them better than me throwing a green pumpkin with orange strands in the skirt.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like and I have like when you look at my jig box, I have stuff like where green pumpkin, black flake. You have this one that's green pumpkin, red flake, and I'm like, eh, eh. Those things are those lures and stuff like that are meant. They do what they're meant to do, and that's catch the angler.
Yeah, exactly right.
and
And to me, that's the same deal with crankbait fishing in a way. You know what I mean? Like, that's something me and James struggle with for a long time. If you look in my crankbait box, I have so many different. I say my crankbait box I carry them on a boat now is not like that. But all the baits that we have is so many different things. And when you go into like custom baits, I've seen guys spend hundreds of dollars getting baits that mimic a shad. You know what I mean? And when it all comes down to it, it's all reaction bite. You know what I mean? Like,
yep.
They don't look and be like, God darn, that really does look like shad. I'm gonna eat that. You know what I mean? Like, you look at how many like chartreuse baits that get hit. You don't see shad swimming around. It's chartreuse color. You know what I mean? Like, you might see like a golden shiner or something down in Florida. That might be a little different. You know what I mean? But you're kind of matching that.
They look at that one. They look at that one and be like, the hue's just a little bit off in that one. I'm not gonna bite that one.
Yeah. The transparency of that, I don't like it. So, but and I've seen that, and like. You got these guys out here who do custom paint jobs, and they do really great jobs, like RBT Custom Baits. I love Ron. I love his baits. But the thing I like about Ron's baits is they're simple. They're not to the T looking like a shad, but they're simple as into what the color around should be. You know what I mean? Like if you want to throw a table rock jerkbait, it's got that little bit of green in it and all that. That's what they're hitting, man. I mean, it's just they see it real quick and they hit it. They're not swimming beside it for a while. The only time that I think it matters is when you're throwing a swim bait, because I swear I see so many fish follow swim baits and looking at it like, something ain't right with that. You know what I mean? Like, why do they chase bait fish like that all the time? Or they just follow it around forever? And that's one thing I don't get.
But that's something I feel like another area of my fishing education that I need to increase is I know a lot of people use big swim baits just for drawing power.
Mm-hmm.
They don't really expect to catch a fish on it, but they use it because fish follow it, and they'll see what kind of fish are in the area.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. Like if there are fish in the area,
mm-hmm.
And Greg Blanchard does that. I got a couple. Rob Reeker does that. There's a lot of people who use that just for that purpose. And it's something I was like, well, I never even thought about that.
Yeah.
Because I'm not a swim bait guy at all.
Well, I have a love-hate relationship with this mag draft right now. Like, I love it.
I saw your video when you caught that. What was it, like a 4 or 5?
Yeah, it was right at 5. It was right at 5 pounds, man.
Right at 5?
I was freaking because, like, that's my first big swim bait fish. Like.
Oh, I saw it.
yeah. Like, I mean, I was like, holy crap, And granted, when we went down to Chickamauga, I started catching more on a Kitech, and on the river here, I've started catching smallmouth on Kitechs and stuff, but never nothing like that. But then I went back out. I got another video that's gonna be coming out here soon. Of it sucks because you can't. I wished I had it where you could see the fish that followed it. I had so many follows for fish on that bait that it was sickening, And I mean, I would go in and follow up with a bait, and they just wouldn't hit it, but I learned that some of the spots I got has got huge fish in it. You know what I mean? And I can see what you're talking about, like using it as a technique to see what kind of fish are in that area.
Yeah.
But
and I don't own any more big swim baits, and I'll tell you why. Because I spent this was probably what year is this? It's 21.
Mm-hmm.
So this was probably 8 years ago, and I bought a Huddleston,
everybody else did.
I don't even remember how much I don't even remember how much I spent on it, but I want to say it was like $60.
Yeah.
Right? And I think it was the most I've ever spent on any lure ever in my life. So I bought this Huddleston, and I was like, hey man, in California they're catching giants on this, so I'm gonna buy this thing. So I went out to Chickahominy Lake, and I was fishing with it and throwing it, and then I was throwing it on braid. And I got a wind knot that I didn't realize I had a wind knot. So I go to cast it, and it just snapped.
Oh.
So I watched $60 just sailing through the air, hit the water, and that Huddleston doesn't float. So I was just like, all right, well, I'm never buying another expensive swim bait ever again, And then I come to find out recently, like there's like $450 swim baits and 300. I'm just like, that's crazy.
Yeah.
My
Yeah.
buddy Rob Reeker, he literally has an array of swim baits, and like his swim baits probably total cost is probably over $2,000 for all the swim baits. And I'm just like, dude, that's crazy.
Yeah.
How many fish have you caught with them?
Yeah.
I've got like 4 or 5. $2,000 for 5 fish. They better all be 20 pounders.
Yeah. 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 And it make like we were watching that tournament down at Lake Fork, I think it was, where they fish, Chris Zaldane and all them was and Lee Levacy and all them was catching all the big fish. And we got on there and was looking through Bassmaster's pictures and noticed, like they have what baits made the top 10 or whatever, top 5. And we was looking at all the glide baits. So we went on the websites and looked at all the glide baits. And it was just mind blowing to me. Like some of the ones were like $250 on to 5, 7. There's $1,000 swim baits, man. There is $1,000. Well, not say swim baits, glide baits. I'm like, what the world?
$1,000 glide baits?
Yes. There is $1,000 glide baits. And you know what the crazy thing is this goes to show you right here, it does not have to be perfect because some of these look like my daughter painted. Like it just is not I was expecting more out of that kind of money. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
It ought to be the skin of a fish wrapped around this thing. Like it looks that real,
Jesus.
But I don't know.
I guess it's just like chatterbaits, man. Like there's people who like, why would I spend $20 for a jackhammer when I can get this for $5 or whatnot?
Yeah.
I mean, but that's a huge difference between $1,000 and $20. But
exactly. And I got buddies like I'll spend some money on jerkbaits. Like I will, and I say money. Like Mega Bass is $25 compared to like $15 on Lucky Crafts or something like that. But I remember back in the day, man, when I was throwing Walmart Rebels or whatever jerkbaits, and
I remember those. Yes, sir.
Yeah, and that didn't bother me. But when I got into, I remember we was talking to one guy. He was throwing Lucky Craft jerkbaits at Smith, and he was like, "Man, y'all got to get these and catch them." I went to the tackle store and I was like, "Oh my god, that thing's $17." Well, I bought it, and I watched a fish roll up out of the brush pile, hit it, and take off with it. And my line snapped, and he ran right back into and I'm like, "Oh, I'm gonna throw up! I just lost $17,
Yeah,
but I went and bought more and like had a lot of success with them, and then I got into the Mega Bass, and it could just go on and on and on. I'll spend some money on jerk baits, but I don't know, swim baits, man, it's just so tough because sometimes I feel like I'm not getting. You spend $250. It's like, can I buy a $30 glide bait? Well, I catch just as much as if I caught one off of a $250 glide bait. Like I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't have the money to compare it, I guess.
So jerk baits, I used to hate them because I never found a rod that felt comfortable to me using it.
Yeah.
So I just felt like I wasn't working it right, or I wasn't getting the correct action, blah blah. And before I get more into this, I'm gonna say this: when did Smithwood Rogue not? When did it stop being like the top jerkbait? Because I remember Smithwood Rogue used to be like the #1 jerkbait.
Yeah.
And then like everybody started talking about Mega Bass Visions, and I was like, I guess Smithwood Rogue is not a thing anymore. Does that make me old? I don't know.
There is a certain color, and I don't want to say because I don't want people searching them and buying them up. That was in the Smithwood Rogue, because they don't make it no more. And but me and James have bought several of them before in a particular colorway to throw, and that's about the only ones that we've really thrown in a Smithwick. I remember Briary Creek, man. I used to go buy the Rapala, the balsa, like full balsa, cheap looking Rapala. You know what I mean? If there is a cheap Rapala, but we'd go to Briary Creek, man. Wood. Yeah. We'd go to Briary Creek in the middle of summer and just wear them out on a thing. I remember we had our little John boat and go out there, man, and just wear them slam out at Briary Creek on a jerkbait. You wouldn't think of throwing nothing like that in there because of all the trees, but it really did. It did really good, and I think that was something we got on that a lot of people didn't know about for a while. Now, did we catch a lot of big ones all the time? No, we didn't. But like getting back to you, like saying, it's like when did that bait disappear? What made this next bait better? What made, you know what I mean? Like what's going to be the next jerk bait in 5 years down the road?
I don't know, but I will tell you those visions are they're really good.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah.
it hurt. I mean, it hurts every time I swipe my card when I buy them, but they are really good.
Yeah.
And when I finally found a rod that I jive with for a jerkbait rod, it was awesome.
Yeah.
I'm not sponsored by them or nothing like that, but people, if you're listening, I'll tell you, if you're in the market for a jerkbait rod, cash in.
Cash and
Look
rods.
at
Got a
cash and
jerkbait rod.
rods. Their jerkbait rod. I'm trying to remember what what series it is, but it's escaping me right now. But that rod's so awesome, man. A 2 pound fish feels like a 7 pound fish. And
Yeah.
I say that because I've caught a 2 pound fish and a 7 pound fish with it, and they both felt the same
Yeah.
until that fish jumped, and I was oh. What is it about fishermen like good fishermen, bad fishermen, whatever, and everything in between? What is it about it when you hook a fish? You're good to go, right? When it feels like a small fish, or you see it's a small fish, but once you see it's like a beast, a big fish, it's like you lose all train of thought on how to fight a fish.
Yeah.
It's just
You
like
go in dummy mode.
yeah, you go in dummy mode, just like do I turn the rod? Do I turn the reel? Like what do I do?
Do I keep the rod high? Do I keep it low? That's yeah. And and then if it comes off, it's like you come back to reality. You're standing back in the boat, and you're like, "Why did I not go this way? Or why did I not? What was I thinking?" But
Exactly.
and that's like that one I caught on a swim bait on YouTube. Man, you would have thought I had a 10-pounder on. I'm like, get the net. Like I'm losing it. Like I'm like having an outer body experience for a moment. And but yeah, it is funny, man. Like when you finally see that fish, you're right. You just like totally lose. It's like you become a kid.
Yeah.
And like it just.
And I feel like once that stops, man, it's probably time to stop fishing. But
Yeah. Yeah,
like,
exactly.
once you stop having real joy in fishing and what you're doing, it's time to stop.
Yeah. I got a question here. Mister
Mhm.
Craig Brazier, wanted to know about the bass nerd. He said something about a bass fishing nerd. He was called a bass fishing nerd on one of the forums or something
Yeah.
like that. Do you remember that,
Yeah,
or
I do remember that.
do you not want to speak of that, or is that we're gonna go to the next question?
It was next question.
Yeah.
Next question. Tell Craig I don't know what that is.
Okay.
All right,
Okay.
Mr.
I'll tell him.
Brochures.
Yeah, I'll tell him. Let's talk a little bit, man. You've been fishing in a kayak for a while now, and you finally switched over. We brought you to the dark side, and you finally switched over to the Motor Guide XI3 bow mount. How has that changed? I'm not looking for a one objective plug here by no means. We're just talking motor here. How has that changed your fishing compared to like having a stern mount?
Really? Okay. So I started out I started out just paddling, and then I was fishing tournaments, and I was like, I need to do something to keep up with these pedal drive guys. So I put a stern mount on, trolling motor. And then after that, I was only getting like 2.5 knots. I went to the Torpedo, and I loved the Torpedo. Loved it.
It's a good motor. It really is.
Great motor, man. Speed, durability, distance. Like, it's a great motor. But it's pretty limited in my opinion. It's pretty limited in the fact that one, it's super loud. The 403 AC.
Yeah.
A super loud. Excuse me. Two, it gives you four propulsion. That's about it. I mean, you get a reverse too, but if you don't have one, you have to pull a cord to lock the motor in place to go in reverse. This is not me down talking Torpedo. They're a great company, great motor.
Mm-hmm.
I loved every second that I had it. The next evolution or the next step was the bow mount XI3. I mean, the fact that I'm controlling the positioning of my boat like a bass boat does.
Yeah.
I'm controlling exactly how I want to approach the cast to this laydown, or if there's a small, 2 foot by 2 foot hole in this overhanging trees that I'm trying to hit because it looks like there'd be a good bass in there. I'm controlling where my boat's position to the, pinpoint accuracy so that I can reach it in there. I'm controlling my drift. I'm controlling if I'm staying in one spot, the spot lock, man, come on.
Yeah.
Anybody who fishes offshore or fishing, if you fish rivers, spot lock, oh my God, it's worth its weight in gold.
Yeah.
I learned in the national championship last year. I had a great practice, found a lot of fish. I found one spot that was offshore, and I caught good fish off of it. But this was when I had the torpedo, and I could not maintain my spot. If there's any wind, I could not maintain my positioning, because if you fish offshore, you understand that making the exact same cast is very important if you're fishing something that's super specific. Structure that's super specific. You got to make the same cast to get the fish to bite. You can make a cast 2 feet to the left or 2 feet to the right, and the fish won't bite it. But when you make that right cast, you get bit.
Yeah.
And I couldn't do that with the torpedo. I tried, man. I would motor up, look, because I marked the spot on my GPS. I motor up to that spot. I think the cast was over there. I make the cast, and if I caught a fish, by the time I landed the fish, I'm, 30 feet, 40 feet from where my boat needs to be, and that's,
that takes time.
XI3, it takes time. At XI3, you have the spot lock. I fished a CK event this past weekend, and I learned how to do something that I didn't know with the XI3, which is route record. At launch, I recorded my route to where I got to get to my first place, my first spot. I recorded that route to the next spot, and then at the end of the day, when I was ready to go home, I hit play route. I saved it to route 1, because you get to be able to save 8 different routes. I saved it to route 1. It took me back. Well, the tournament went over, but it took me back along all those spots that I got to fish on its own. While I fished, I didn't have to do anything with my motor unless a boat was coming.
Yeah.
And it took me back on its own, and I got to fish hands-free, no worries. And I was like, what? Mine was blown. I didn't even know. I thought that was something. I thought I had to have a Lowrance fish finder to do that. Because Motor Guy links with Lowrance, and Minn Kota links with Humminbird. So that's what I thought. But no, you can save the routes. It's up to 8 routes, 4 miles each, max on each route on that remote.
Wow. I didn't know that either. Like, I didn't know I could do that on that remote.
Yeah. It's ridiculous.
I need to go back and read my book.
Try it out, man. Next time you go out, try it out, man. I guess another great thing is that at the end of the day, you don't feel like, controlling left and right on your way back to the ramp. You can start it from the ramp to, main lake. So like when you get to that main lake spot, you can hit 2, and it's just going to take you back to the ramp on its own.
What?
You can play solitary or
Facebook or whatever.
Yeah, Facebook, whatever. Yeah.
That right there too is like awesome with time. Like say you're heading back to the ramp and you go submit fish. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like you're just submitting fish while you're heading onto back to the ramp or whatever. If you're able to do it there. But yeah, I'm
giving away good stuff right now, man. Because I was gonna do a review on my YouTube channel of the XI3.
Well, you got to do it.
It's okay. I'll do it all right here.
Yeah,
we're all good.
No, you still need to do
I can tell you right now, if you have doesn't matter what kayak you have, because my buddy, James Quinn, just put an XI3 on his, I think it's a Predator, right? That's what he has, the Predator?
Yes, which we have not come out with that mount yet, but it's coming.
You heard it first.
Yeah,
right?
You heard it first right here. If you hear, all you bunch of viewers of 7, you heard it first. So it's 7.
The 7 of y'all.
Yeah, all 7 of y'all. If we was on Facebook, we'd have a lot more viewers. We'd be like 20, 30.
That's all good.
Yeah, but
I like all 7 of y'all.
Yeah. My idiot self can't get Facebook working right, so I blame that on Chris too. Thanks, Chris. But
I'm a friend request all 7 of y'all.
but no, like I say, I wasn't trying to. I'm not trying to say one motor's better than the other, because I think each setup is great for what you fish. You know what I mean? Like there's a time and place for each setup, And that's something I try to tell people, and they're like, well, should I go to the XI3 or should I go to the Torpedo? I'm like, what do you fish? Because, yes, on certain rivers, the XI3 is great if you got deep water, but if you're fishing rapids and you got to go down these rapids and up around, you might want to go with a stern mount motor, whether it be a Torpedo or a or whatever. You know what I mean? Like, a stern mount has got its place in time for it. So, but like say, I wanted to know your opinion because, like say, you've been fishing with it for a while now, and it's been, that's what I want to see where you were at with that. Like, if you regret getting it or don't regret getting it, you know what I mean?
I do not regret getting it at all. I can tell you there's a learning curve. It's not a big learning curve, but it's a learning curve, right? Because
yeah,
for the most part, if you are used to having a motor, you're used to having a stern mount motor, and how your boat runs with that stern mount motor, how you control it, so on and so forth. It's different when you're controlling controlling everything from the front. It's different.
Yeah.
From a kayak perspective, it's different. The way you cast is different. I do a roll cast, right? So when I'm on a skip underneath docks or skip underneath bushes, whatever, I like to cast off of my left side of my boat. Well, the motor's up front there. So you have to adjust the way you cast. Maybe you stand up and you do it, or you just turn the boat to the left more, and you can roll cast to wherever you need to roll cast to.
Yeah. I lost a spinnerbait because of that front motor. Actually, one time, my Z-Man spinnerbait I went to do a roll cast, did the same thing. Smacked it. I don't know how in the world it broke my line, but my spinnerbait just fell off, So it just takes some getting used to, for real.
That's it. It just takes some getting used to because, yeah, maybe that's a little bit of inconvenience, but all your pluses that you're going to get for it, and I'm also not sponsored by Motor Guide, so don't think this is me trying to get money. It's an awesome setup, man. What was I going to say? So here's a really big insider tip. You want a rudder.
Yeah.
You want a rudder. I noticed this past weekend, I already thought I needed a rudder with it, right? But I noticed this past weekend, because James has a rudder on his and I don't. So when you hit heading lock so you're hitting heading lock. Heading lock is you're going this way and you hit this button, the motor's gonna take you that way on its own. If you're at speed, the motor yaws, so it'll go left and right to keep you
and
on
it gets
that
aggressive
basic heading. And that's only because your boat swings. You're not a bass boat. You don't have a John boat. Like, your kayak's gonna swing.
Yeah.
So it's adjusting for the swing on your kayak. When you have a rudder, it prevents your kayak from swinging, so you stay a straight line. I watched it next to me. I'm next to James. We're both going full bore, and he's going dead straight, not yawing at all. And I was like, holy crap. All right.
Yeah.
Bonafide, y'all better get the rudders and stop. Another thing with Another thing with the rudder, man, is not just the heading lock, but spot lock. So if you have a boat, most boats that are super good on stability are going to have a high gun walls on them, right? Like a Bonafide sits up high.
Yeah.
So you're going to get significant wind cocking and wind. So the wind's going to blow the back end of your boat. So when, say, you go on spot lock, the spot lock is designed to keep you within a 5-foot radius of where you hit spot lock at. It's going to keep you there. But if the wind's blowing, you say you're fishing straight in front of you and the wind's blowing and it spins your tail end of your boat around, well, you're going to be in the same spot, but the wind can spin you around and you're facing the opposite way.
Yeah. With
that rudder is going to keep you from spinning, so you're going to be able to stay facing the way that you're facing to fish. And I have an SS127. He has a Predator, and when he picked his rudder up out of the water, we saw the difference. But when he put it back down, deadlock.
Huh.
So
that's
y'all
crazy,
getting all my
dude.
Review stuff right here on One Objective.
Yeah.
So.
Well, you're going to have to still do a video. I want you to do it so we can share it. You know what I mean? Because I think that is super, super great information to know. And, that's something we have not tested with the rudder. Now, I do know about the, going wide open because on the Titan, and it's got, that one's actually got a rudder in it, but we got to lock down. You know what I mean? So if you hit anything, if the back end goes shallow, hit anything, it could knock your rudder to the side a little bit. You know what I mean? So on that, I can see what you're saying, because like I say, we were going straight with that. And if you're not paying attention, say you put it on heading and you're just tying a knot, you're looking down, you ain't looking where you're going. And all of a sudden you feel like you're starting to do this mess, and you're like, what the crap? And the front end is like, it gets aggressive. Like it'll get to a point where eventually it's like cutting real hard, and you're like, holy crap. And you like cut it off. But yeah, I never thought about the rudder deal. Like that's some great information right there. I never thought about that.
Yeah, man. I saw it and I was just like, I've been waiting for, Bonafide. It's been out of stock, COVID every now and then working. Everybody's out of stock on everything.
Yeah.
And I just been every day I've been checking. Rudder back up. No, rudder back up. God dog it. All right.
Yeah,
I'm about to go back there and I'm about to put a cutting board on the back of the kayak.
Yeah, you had to come down with one objective. We're gonna have to design you something. You know what I mean? Design you something for the back.
Those guys are awesome. I don't know if you met these one objective guys, but they only have one objective.
Yeah.
It's to make your kayaking experience better.
That's what we try to do, man. We try to make everything right. We try to do right with our mounts and make it to where it's efficient as we can without drilling. But there's gonna be boats out there you're gonna have to drill. That's just how it is. And to make it safe, we actually get some cut. People cut on us sometimes for certain boats we don't make them for. And there's boats that I would not put a bow mount on. Like the new Falcon that we did a review on a while back, and took out and made a plate for. 10-foot boat. Man, that's a smooth paddling boat. If I had to buy a paddling boat just to fish a river, the Falcon is all the way. You know what I mean?
Really?
Yeah, I loved it. It was a great boat. And I'm a bigger dude. We both bigger guys. And I was really impressed with that boat. And is it a boat I'd stand up in? No. It's nothing like a Bonafide. You know what I mean? Like, if I wanted a boat that was really I wanted to stand up in the river and all that, I would probably go just back with my 107 or 127, whichever Bonafide. You know what I mean?
I just ordered a 107.
Did you get you a 107?
Yeah, I just ordered me a 107.
What color did you get that in?
The olive green.
Oh, man. I love that color, dude.
I
love that color.
Yeah.
When you got to go pick that up?
So I was gonna pick it up while I was down in North Carolina, but I ended up having truck issues that ended up getting fixed, but it was too late to go pick it up.
I got you.
So I'm thinking I'm gonna go pick it up sometime this week. I'm gonna drive down to the factory and pick it up.
Yeah, it's a pretty cool experience, man. Justin Floyd, see if he I don't know how they are with COVID and everything going on, but see if he can give you a little tour.
I'm fully vaccinated.
Oh, you're good. There you go.
Yeah.
You can cough
Navy
on anybody.
Navy just told me I can go back to bars again. Yes.
Oh man, dude, let's talk about one more thing, and we're gonna let you get going here. I know we're getting late. Let's talk about the Pioneers, man, and what you guys are doing. And for some of you guys that don't know about this whole like team, what do you call it, like a bracket or just like team tournament deal, or
you're talking about the privateers?
Yeah, the privateers. I mean, I'm sorry. What did I say? Pioneers?
Yeah, it's cool. It's all good.
Yeah.
Okay, so if you don't know about it, KFL is Kayak Fishing League. You probably have or have not heard of KBBT, which is Kayak Bass Bracket Tour. The same owner created Kayak Fishing League, right? So basically, it's I want to say it's 16 or 20 teams. I can't remember off the top of my head, but basically from Florida up to Maine, and as far west as Louisiana. And we are, it's basically like the NFL. So we have 16 to 20 teams, and we travel to face those teams on their home waters. Every team has 3 lakes that they can choose from, and they pick the lake they want to fish against each team that's on their schedule. There's conferences and divisions. And it's handled just like any pro team. So like NFL, NBA, whatever. You have a regular season. You want to get as best record you can during the regular season. But the great part about it, right, is I don't know have you heard of that guy, Conrad Benetti?
That sounds familiar. The last name sounds familiar anyways.
Yeah, he's the internet guy. He's an online fisherman who like just tears up online, and KBN rips him a lot. But anyway, uh, he's a heck of a fisherman. But anyway, he's from Florida, so there's a Florida team. And Josh, when I tell you that the Florida team is coming up to Virginia to face the privateers on our waters, so you got Conrad Benetti, who's like probably the most controversial or famous kayak angler in history because this dude's from Brooklyn, lives in Florida, fishes online tournaments, and talks,
Yeah.
just talks and talks and just runs his mouth.
Yeah.
And on KBN, that's the thing. That's what they love.
Yeah.
So,
Oh yeah. They live on that stuff.
yeah, yeah. So he's coming up. Their team is coming here to face us. But anyway, we face them on our schedule. We face Florida, we face Carolina, and we face Washington. And it's like I said, 16 to 20 teams. We face each other. We go to your waters. So the best part about it to me is I get to go to your water and I get to beat you on your water.
Yeah.
Each team has 6 people. 4 people fish in the match, so 4v4 on the water, same body of water. Best 10 fish for the team. If one person catches 10 fish, then that's the best 10 for your team.
Oh, gotcha.
So it's not like every person has to catch a fish. If one person catches all 10, then they're the biggest 10, whatever. That's the 10 for your team.
Yeah.
And it's going to be a lot of fun, man, to be able to travel and face teams, these anglers that you maybe watch on YouTube or heard of, face them on their home lakes, and maybe have the opportunity to beat them on their home lakes. For me, that's the biggest allure. Another allure is the fact that I'm gonna get to fish so many different waters that I've never fished. I'm gonna get to fish all these places that some of these places are places that I want to fish, like the Shenandoah, Toledo Bend. There's a match on Toledo Bend. I'm like, these are places I've wanted to fish, and I don't know if I would have ever said to myself, hey, I'm going to go fish Toledo Bend. But now I have a reason to go fish Toledo Bend.
Mm-hmm.
And there's money involved. So, like, it's not like this is just a hobby thing. Like, there's real money involved. Like, the teams are going to be making real money. We have team sponsors. We have personal sponsors. We have league sponsors. And I think this is the inaugural season. And if the inaugural season is a success, I think it's only going to get bigger.
Yeah.
Only going to get bigger. Because who doesn't like competition? I mean, what red-blooded American doesn't like competition?
Yeah.
2, as fishermen, we want to go to, your backyard and shut you up in your backyard.
I love it, man. I love it.
Yeah. So I'm looking forward to it. Win, lose, or draw. I'm looking forward to it. I'm going to have fun with it. I'm going to be putting out a ton of content. It's just going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah.
So
how does, let's say, for instance, let's say me, I want to get in on this. How do I do it? How do I get signed up? Now, can Virginia have like 2 teams? You know what I mean? Like, can it be a couple teams?
Virginia could have 2 teams. At this time right now, the season starts the beginning of June.
Mm-hmm.
So this season full up, but there's probably going to be more teams next season. So if you're interested in joining a team or creating your own team wherever you are, you can hit up Greg Nosar on Facebook, or you can message myself or any person affiliated with it. But if you message myself, I'm the owner of the Norfolk Privateers based here in Norfolk, Virginia. Message me, I'll get you hooked up with the people you need to speak to. But Greg Nosar, search Greg Nosar on Facebook, Greg Nosar on KBBT. He's the owner of KBBT. He'll be able to hook you up with any information, whatever you need to do to get involved in it.
Yeah. And I mean, now, so do you have to have at least, it sounds like you got to have at least 4. What happens if you got like, I don't know, 7 or 8 guys in your club? Do y'all still just take the 4 out of that go and fish it, or how do you do that?
So there's 6 per team. So you're allowed 6 starters, right?
Mm-hmm.
And when I say starters, I don't mean 6 people are going to fish. I mean, you got 6 starters that you can choose from for the people to fish each match. You have 2 alternates. So realistically, there's 8 people on each team.
Okay.
The alternates are there in case. So say I'm active duty military. Say I have to go out to sea, or I'm not allowed. I physically can't fish this tournament. Whatever the case may be, you can use the alternate. You can use your alternates twice in a season. If you have to use them more than that, then you have to talk to management about switching them to starting role and switching whoever was starting who can't fish to an alternate role.
Yeah.
But it's 6 people starting, and it's based that way because we have to travel, right?
Mm-hmm.
Not everybody has the same schedule. 4 people have to fish, right? If you can't, I think 3 is the minimum. You can fish 3-on-4. Anything less than 3, you forfeit the match and the other team wins. But we did it 6 starters so that we want four to play every game, but not everybody can travel. So you have 2 alternate people, or not alternate, but you have 2 people who are also starters who can sub in for someone who can't travel this weekend or that weekend.
Yeah.
And then if you have more than that, that's why you have the alternates. You can
Yeah.
use one of your alternates to fill in.
So how do you determine like a starter position? Let's say you're going to fish Sandy.
So for Norfolk Privateers, I am the owner coach.
Yeah.
So we just had this. We had a meeting a couple of days ago, and I talked to these guys about it. I was like, it's going to be based off of the body of water we're fishing, your strengths and weaknesses, and if you're hot or not. Like, I mean, you're a fisherman. Confidence is a huge thing.
Oh yeah.
Right, and you're a person who's been killing it lately. I don't care if like I fish, deep clear lakes better than you do, but you're a person who's been killing it. You're going to start. The coach is going to decide who starts for each match.
Yeah.
But for my team, I told him it's going to be based off of those 3 things. So don't take it personally. If I'll sit myself. I mean, I'm a player coach. I'll sit myself. I almost said what one of my weaknesses was, but I'm not gonna put it there because somebody might be watching. But I've already told him I'm gonna sit myself for X matchup because of this, and I'm gonna look at whoever's the best option to fish it.
Yeah.
Because I mean, I want to win. We all want to win,
and
definitely want to go and beat you.
Yeah.
Whoever you are, the proverbial you.
I love it, man. I think that is a fun setup, dude. I think that's cool.
Dude, I think it's going to be a lot of fun because what I've noticed with these people is like, yeah, it's straight up competition. We want to beat you. We want to tear your head off. But like when we're not on the water, man, you see, I'm throwing, like I invited the Washington Warhawks to my house. I was like, man, I'll put some ribs on the grill. I'll smoke some ribs. I'll smoke some pulled pork. I'll make some pulled pork. I'll do this and I'll do that. We'll eat good. We'll have a good time. We'll drink. We'll smoke some stogies.
Yeah.
But tomorrow, I want all the smoke. I'm coming for your neck.
Yeah.
But tonight we're all good. We're friends.
Look, you trying to get them all tanked up and old bubble gut the next day. You drinking water. You know what I mean?
Don't tell nobody.
Getting them all bubble gut. They get on the water the next day. They looking for rolls of toilet paper.
They're gonna think it's Captain Morgan, but it's gonna be sweet tea.
Oh man. Well, I'm still waiting for an invite down there. You know what I mean?
I've given it to you.
I know. Well, I'm always back at home.
You and James are invited.
Yes. I see these pictures on there, and I'm like, God darn, that looks good, boy. Goodness gracious.
My wife's mad right now because I just smoked some chicken, and it's just sitting on the counter. She's looking at me, giving me a stink eye right now. She's like, are you done so we can eat?
Yeah.
Maybe you can eat. We're good.
Yeah, go ahead. Just save a little bit for us when we come down there this week to pick it up.
Do you come down? Come down. I'll do some. I'll do some tomahawk steaks or something on there.
Oh man.
We'll figure it out.
That sounds good. Well, Robert, man, I appreciate you taking the time, dude, to come on with us. We always have a good time talking when you come to the shop, and it's always fun. It's always a good time talking and jiving back and forth about fishing, and we all share the same passion, and that's what makes this sport so great and so easy to go onto a podcast and talk with you. You know what I mean? Like it's not scripted. It's real, man, and we're just having a good time talking. So, but I really appreciate you coming on, man. I really appreciate you being a great team member to One Objective and what you bring to the team. And I think you're a heck of an angler and a heck of a guy, down to earth kind of guy. So, but also I appreciate your service to our country, and all that you've sacrificed for this country. You know what I mean? Time from family and all that. So really appreciate that, Robert. You got any sponsors? You got anybody else? You don't have to say us, but anybody else to help support you, that through your fishing endeavors?
Yeah. First and foremost, man, I like to thank my wife, who's my biggest sponsor.
She's sitting right there.
My
He's
wife,
looking at her. Look, she's looking at her.
she's on Skype, not Skype, but she's on Facebook or YouTube, or not YouTube, but what's that? Instagram.
Oh
She's
yeah.
on one of them. But anyway, first and foremost, my biggest sponsor is my wife, man. I mean that. You have seen how much I fish.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And if she wasn't my biggest supporter, I wouldn't be able to do that at all.
Awesome.
Bonafide, man, I'm sponsored by Bonafide, and in my opinion, it's the best paddle kayak out there for a meld of everything you're looking for: stability, fishability, speed, tracking. Just, I'm not saying it's the best at 1, 2, and 3, 4, and 5. I'm telling you, when you add all three of those up together, I feel like, in my opinion, it does the best out of all of them.
Yeah.
Yak Attack, probably the best kayak accessory company out there.
Hands down.
Phoenix Baits. Say again?
Sorry, hands down, best company.
Hands down, man. It is.
Yeah.
It is. I mean, I know I'm sponsored by them, man, but like, just look at their stuff, man. They don't make it geared towards. I mean, if you're really into this sport, you know that it's owned by the same guy. They're not into making everything just for bona fide kayaks. They're into making it for kayaking, for kayaks. Period. If you fish, you don't fish, you just go kayaking. They're into making accessories for that. And now they've crossed over into the boat world, so they're into making it accessible for fishing, the outdoor lifestyle on the water.
Yeah.
Phoenix Baits, probably one of my favorite one of my favorite companies that make jigs. Phoenix Baits, Riot Baits, Honey Hole Fishing, man. Titan Tungsten, they're pretty good, man. They make some pretty good tungsten. I say pretty good. They make great tungsten.
Yeah.
And Monster Bass. I started out with what is it called? Mystery Tackle Box. Pro and all that stuff. I got all that stuff, but I tell you what, man, the Monster Bass box actually sends you good stuff that you'll use, and they send it based off your area. So
that's
where
cool.
you're at, and the season, they send you the stuff based off of where you're at and the season that you're in. It's not just, hey, we're going to send you this stuff. So I think that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
They're going to send me stuff that's working in this area, that's known to been working in this area. So one objective, man. I'm new to the team. I know he didn't want me to say nothing about it, but I'm just going to be honest with you. I'm new to the team, and I can't be happier to be a part of it. And they just, like, I wish I could tell him to get off right now so I could speak on it, but they're just homemade guys, man, and they are literally about making this sport better and making it easier for you to fish. James is a wizard when it comes to rigging and figuring stuff out on how we're going to do this. Man, I mean, you give the dude your kayak for like a week, and the next thing you know, you get your kayak back for a week later, you got a transformer. It does everything. I don't know. If you haven't seen, what is it, Obi? What's the name of the John boat?
The John Juan.
John Juan?
Yeah.
Oh my God! Look at their stuff. Look up John Juan. That John boat is ridiculous.
Yeah,
Anyway, I mean, that's it, man. Like, I literally appreciate every sponsor. I'm a guy who came from nothing. I literally posted on a Facebook page on Bonafide. I was like, hey, man, because Luther, he's the owner of Bonafide. He was like, he responds to the customers and the people on the page.
Yeah.
And I was like, hey, man, how does somebody become a part of the team? And I got roasted, man. Like, hey, man, the first rule about Bonafide is you don't ask about Bonafide. I was like, oh, shit. Yeah. Hey, man, don't ask how to get on the team, because if you do, you're not gonna get on the team. I got roasted by like 100 people.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. And he was like, put an application. Yeah. He was like, put an application, man. And I put an application, and I kept doing what I do. You know me, man. I like to post videos. I like to talk about how I'm catching the fish. I like to try to make it easier for people to catch fish in this area or to learn something about fishing. And I just kept doing that. And dude, when I tell you it was like 3 weeks later, I got a correspondence about, hey, we'd like you to join the team. That was so awesome.
Yeah.
That was so awesome. So I'm very happy to be a part of to be on the team of every sponsor that I have, and I try to do the best that I can to promote every last one of them to make you understand that they're great. Because I only accept, I won't say accept sponsorship, but all my sponsors are people who I believe in. They have products that I believe in, and they have stuff that I use myself. So
yeah.
I was a guy who started out with NPS, and I just wanted to get discounts, and then eventually, once I got really serious about this, I literally resigned from every NPS sponsor that I had because I was like, I don't believe in this stuff. So I got rid of them. But anyway, yeah. Check out One Objective, man. Their shit's. Oh, sorry.
No, you're fine.
Their stuff's legit, man. It's legit.
Thanks,
and
man.
If they don't have it, they will work with you to create it.
Yeah, that's our goal. That's what we try to do. There's some things we just can't do or won't do because it's one of the things. It's like, I mean, I say we won't do. If you bring your boat to us, we're gonna get you going. You know what I mean? But if someone says, hey, can you make a bow mount for a Sun Dolphin that I bought in '94? You know what I mean? Like, we'll do our best, but like, it's tough, man, because the price of the mount's gonna go through the roof because it's not something you can really produce for other boats. You know what I mean? So, but that's some of the stuff you get sometimes. But
that's a vivid imagination. Sun Dolphin in '94.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, but that's some of the stuff that you feel like you get sometimes, and we try to help everybody out we can. But now, Robert, I really appreciate it, man. And everybody can follow you on your YouTube channel, right? Yeah. Is yours Yak Bassin too on YouTube? So
it's Yak Bassin. Yak YAKBASSASSIN. Yak Bassin.
I've been saying it the wrong
way.
It's my
YouTube. It's all good, man. It's my YouTube. It's my Instagram. Hey, man, come along, man. I try to teach as much as I fish. So
yeah, awesome stuff. Good content. Well, buddy, you have a good night, man. You have a great week, and looking forward to maybe one day all of us getting out there and going doing some fishing.
That too, and you can come over and get you some good stuff.
That's what I'm talking about. I'm gonna talk with James. We're gonna make that happen quick.
All right, man. Thank you.
All right, buddy. You have a good one, man. Thank you.
You too, man. Good night.
See you. Bye. All right. Well, let me get this back over here to our full screen here. All right. But anyways, so I have, like I said, since we've talked to Robert, he has been he's been great to talk with. And the reason why I say this is like the insight we get. We've seen how he fished and all that. So it was great. It just seemed like he was the right person to get on the team. He had a lot of insight. He had a lot of history in, fishing out of a kayak. He wasn't somebody that just jumped into it and all of a sudden he's looking for sponsors and he didn't come to us. Like literally we went to he reached out and was wanting some bow mount information. And we worked it out with him and ended up getting him on the team because, like I say, he puts the time and effort in. This guy, if you go on his page and follow him on YouTube or Facebook or Instagram, this guy puts in the time. He puts in the hard work and the dedication it is. And he's on the water all the time. I mean, he's out there, and that's what it takes to be able to get to the level to be competitive, is putting your time in. I know there's weekend events and some of these guys don't get a chance to fish every day. And there's still events, that you can go and be competitive and do well. And as long as you eat, breathe, and sleep this stuff, you got a chance at it. That's what I say. And that's what it takes. If you want to truly make it and be competitive in the sport, if you just want to go out there and have a good time and fish, you don't have to do all that. But to really make it in this sport, it takes dedication. And Robert's got it, and he does really well with it, and he handles it very well too. So, guys, I'm sorry I wasn't able to get this on Facebook tonight. I don't know. Like I say, Chris has worked this, and I'm not blaming this on Chris. I'm blaming it on me being a retard and not. That's a bad word to say. I'm sorry. I blame this on me being stupid and not paying attention when he's setting everything on Facebook because I'm on the other side trying to get my notes together. So a lot of that is me not paying attention on how he was getting this set up. So I'm hoping I'm going to have some schooling. So if I have to do this by myself, I can, knock this out the park next time. But other than that, guys, that's about it for tonight's show. I really appreciate you guys joining in. If you are on iTunes or any of your podcast formats, how you listen to your podcast, I don't know how all of them are, but I know iTunes, we have a rating system. If you go in there, just give us a good rating, hopefully, if you like this, and let us know in the comments of the rating what you like about it, and so that way other people's reading through it, they can kind of see why they should listen to our podcast. So we've gotten several on there. Really appreciate that. Also, please go subscribe to our YouTube channel. If you're watching right now, I'm sure y'all have probably already subscribed, but if you haven't, share it with your friends. Hit the thumbs up button. If you're still in here, please hit the thumbs up for this show. Let everybody know you liked it. That way we can get this show on out there and plan on doing a lot more of these. I know, like I said, we were off for a while. Business was just insane with just, getting backed up with orders and trying to get new products and all that. It's tough, man. It's tough on two people. I ain't gonna lie. We got another guy that comes and helps us out every once in a while, getting parts routed and ready to go to be assembled. But it's been tough. Just as busy it is, and I appreciate a lot of our customers that's been patient with us. We get some that, they want it right away, and I get it. I do the same thing when I order stuff, so, but I appreciate all of our customers being patient as they have. It's tough. It's tough to get everything out right away when it comes out. We're not Amazon, I can tell you that. But other than that, guys, I hope you guys have a great night. I appreciate you guys tuning in. Please share this video. Go follow us on Facebook, Instagram. We're also got a, oh man, I can't think of the TikTok. We got TikTok on there. We got some odd end stuff. You'll see some odd end videos on there. And then, like I say, if you're interested, if you like go-kart racing or you like racing or whatever, hey, go check out our racing page. We got Carter Racing 23. You can see along how my son's doing. I'm not trying to bring that all on here, but if you're into that kind of stuff, you want to follow along, feel free to go over there. Other than that, guys, y'all have a great night, great week. Share those fishing pictures with us. We love to see them. We love to share them on our story. We get a lot of people tagging us on Instagram, and we